Welcome into room 442, guys. On today's show, we preview the North London derby. That's right, Tottenham host Arsenal this weekend. We also break down all of the Premier League matches this weekend, as well as predict the headlines. We guess what we think is going to come out of this crazy weekend of football, so stay tuned. Welcome into room 442, guys. That's right. It is the North London derby. I'm joined with Albert Vartanian, Mikey Singh, and myself, Sarah Ferrari, of course. Guys, North London derby. We saw what happened last time. Arsenal came away with the W. 3-1. Arsenal are also right now on the top of the league, 44 points, where Tottenham is fifth, 33 points. Albert, 11 points behind Arsenal. How important is this W this weekend for them?
It's very important. I think it's very important for both sides. More so maybe Arsenal, because you really want to extend that gap on Manchester City. I mean, they can get to 8 points, right? If everything works out in their way. I personally, I expect Arsenal to go in there and win the game based on what I've seen from Tottenham this season. Prior to the last two matches, they've given up the first goal in 10 straight matches. And Arsenal are one of the fastest starters in the Premier League. And I feel like if they go behind early against Arsenal, there's no really coming back. And Arsenal can put quite a few past this team. The last North London derby they had, unfortunately, Tottenham went down a man, so that affected the game. But the last one that was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, that was an Arsenal team that lost to Spurs that wasn't settled. This Arsenal's team right now is completely settled coming into this. This is probably the best version of who they are. So it's going to be a completely different game to that one. But in terms of picking a winner, I think it has to be Arsenal.
Mikey, Albert kind of alluded to it already, but who's under more pressure going into this match?
It's a really good question. There's a lot of pressure on both sides, but with the Premier League title essentially on the line, I think Arsenal have a little bit more pressure here. Like Tottenham, the top four is really important for this Tottenham Hotspur side. I don't know if it's make or break top four for this team. I think you got to be a little bit realistic about what's happening around you with the rest of the league. It's really competitive. It's really wide open, and maybe there's an opportunity for Tottenham to get into the top four, and that is really important to them. But Arsenal, man, a Premier League title on the line, it has to be the Gunners here, and they need to bounce back, right? They're coming off a draw to Newcastle. And they need to make a statement here, because if not, then you're looking at Man City or Manchester United making up ground on you, potentially Newcastle making up ground. Yeah, there's a lot riding on this North London derby. But I will say, does it make you feel better that it's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Because you mentioned the last one, but Tottenham haven't lost in their last 8 matches against Arsenal at home.
Yeah, no, they're excellent at home, especially against Arsenal. And you can tell how important it is to this man, Antonio Conte. In his press conference today, he was talking about the fans, and he's like, we know how much they need them in this matchup. So it's almost telling the fans and the players, like, listen, we need you as much as we need the players on the field to have the motivation and energy to beat this Arsenal side. They're going to play a huge factor. I just don't think Spurs are up for it right now against this Arsenal team.
Speaking about Antonio Conte, let me ask you, do you have confidence in him as a manager? They're coming off of 2 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws, their last 6 matches. They also haven't had 4 consecutive wins or draws since the beginning of the season. To me, Tottenham are completely inconsistent. We see bursts of brilliance, but they can't keep that going. As a Spurs fan, what do you think about Conte?
Yeah, I believe in Conte, and I'll tell you why. Is because he proved it last season. He turned that Tottenham team, who should not have finished in the top 4, ahead of Arsenal. And he did that, beat Arsenal in a crucial matchup in May last season to really pip them to that top 4 spot. So he's proven that he can do it with this side. When it comes to Spurs, yeah, okay, their form is inconsistent, but one consistency that they do have is being able to score goals and come back in games. So really, you have to figure out how to manage the first 45 games. And I think once he does that, which I believe that he will and this team will, then you have a complete team. It's just right now they're going through, I don't even know what to call this period that they're going through. It's like, it's a lack of consistency, and it's funny you're asking about consistency, but it's total lack of consistency in a team that does really good things consistently as well.
Mikey, 15 years since this team has won a trophy. Are they winning a trophy this year?
Which trophy are they winning? No chance. It's going to be another year where this team doesn't win a trophy. And I think, I'm looking ahead here now, but you look ahead to the summer, and it's going to be a guy like Harry Kane that could potentially be on his move away from Tottenham. We don't know what the future is with Antonio Conte, a guy we were just talking about. He's in the media, it seems like every single week, playing, honestly, mind games with the ownership, it feels like, and maybe even his players sometimes. I don't know what to expect out of this Tottenham team moving forward, but they need to make a change one way or the other, whether they reset it or go all in here to try and get them over that hump, because they need a trophy. They need silverware. It's been too long.
Well, I think that was more my question too about Conte, in that they haven't won a trophy still. Yeah, they had a great season and where they finished, but with the talent on that team, surely they need to be winning something.
Right. No, there are world-class players on that team too. I mean, you look at Son and Kane, definitely.
Yeah, of course.
They're in that category. But if you look at, their back three, if you look at the wing backs, not really good enough at this moment. I mean, Christian Romero's probably the standout back there, World Cup winner. Do you really want Eric Dyer as one of your back three? No. Ben Davies, not really a center back. Your fullbacks aren't doing a job. Sessegnon hasn't panned out. Emerson Royal hasn't panned out. Matt Doherty hasn't panned out. So there still needs to be upgrades in certain positions for this team to click. I know it's a lot to ask for, but slowly but surely he's putting the team together. But they're still missing some core pieces that can really help them become one of these teams that wins trophies.
Yeah. When you compare them to like other sides that are contenders, perennial contenders, their roster, I'm sorry, but is nowhere near some of those contenders. And Antonio Conte has come out and almost said that. He's saying he's doing the best with essentially the pieces that he's given, but that's almost you're fighting a losing battle there. You're almost throwing in the towel a little bit too early. So I'm with you. I think they need to bring in more reinforcements from top to bottom, but at the same time, you got to find ways to keep guys like Harry Kane and Son and keep them engaged and happy, and you got to get Son playing his best football again.
But you know what? With all of this said, they finished in the top four last season. They're in striking distance of the top four right now. They're in the knockout stages of the Champions League. It's not all bad. It seems like it's not going completely right for Tottenham at the moment, but some way, somehow, they still get results when they need to get results, and they keep themselves in touching distance. And I think this window is so important. If they could bring maybe one or two more reinforcements just for the rest of this season to get to this summer, to bring in some more players, they're going to be in a great spot, I think, come next year.
Okay, so let's talk about predictions for the game. Arsenal coming off of a draw, which we look at as like almost a slump because they've only lost one match this season to Manchester United. And Spurs maybe playing their best match yet with that 4-0 win over Palace. A little bit on injuries. Kulusevski's back for Spurs, which is huge. We a bit in the unknown about Richarlison. Smith Rowe is back for Arsenal, but the biggest thing I think for Arsenal is that they've rested their first team with that FA Cup match they had. It was a completely swapped out side. How important is it that these players, Saka, Gabriel, Martinelli, everyone is rested coming into this derby?
Yeah, I mean, these are footballers. I think they can handle some of the added match days. I mean, it's been a really busy year for a lot of these guys, sure. So maybe that will play a factor, but I think what you mentioned earlier, Kulusevski coming inside for Tottenham, it's a game changer. They look completely different with him in the squad. He is their most creative and dynamic in terms of just creating opportunities for guys like Harry Kane and Son, and him coming in from the right just gives them that other option on the right-hand side. I love that he's back into the squad, and with that addition, I think that Tottenham could find a way.
They could. Go ahead.
No, is that your official prediction? What is your prediction for this match?
Yeah, either a draw or a Tottenham win. I don't think Arsenal picks up all 3 points.
Wow, that's huge.
Albert?
I'm going the other way. Like I said, Arsenal, they're fast starters. Spurs are not. I think they get one or two before Spurs can get one. I do think Spurs will score in this game. If there's anyone that's going to do it, Harry Kane, he loves scoring in North London derby. But prediction, unfortunately, 2-1. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I can see Spurs getting a goal here, but I'm backing the Gunners all the way because they've given me no reason not to back them yet, and they've already beaten Spurs once. All right, guys, up next, it's Fast Money Football, where we cover all the Premier League matches this weekend, so stay with us. We got you covered. It's the halfway point of the Premier League, and to say that these matches will be exciting is an understatement. We have derbies galore, and we have you covered for all of the Premier League matches this weekend. It's Fast Money Football. Albert, you're up first, and it's the Manchester Derby.
Remember when we all thought City would walk the league? Well, 17 games in and Pep's sides are at the point where they can't afford to drop points. They've lost 2 and drawn 1 in their last 8, and considering City only lost 3 last season, that's a problem. They're getting into must-win territory with the hope that Arsenal will slip up. Not a great position to be in heading into a derby against one of the most informed teams in the league. 9 wins, 1 loss, 6 clean sheets, add 23 goals, and you have United's form over their last 10 fixtures. Incredible. I wouldn't put off a United result here, so I'm backing them on the double chance at even money.
It's Brighton-Liverpool, with just 1 point separating these two teams in the Premier League table. After a 4-1 thrashing of Everton midweek, Brighton will try and make it 2 wins in a row, but they'll have to do so without their talisman, Leandro Trossard, who has been dropped from the side after a clash with manager Roberto De Zerbi. For Liverpool, meanwhile, will this be the week the Reds finally turn their season around? Jurgen Klopp's side have lost 3 of their last 7 Premier League matches, as many as their previous 37 combined. But the Reds haven't started a calendar year with 2 defeats in a row since 1993, and they're unbeaten in their last 10 away games against Brighton. So how about Liverpool on the money line at plus money?
Winless in 8 games across all competitions, Frank Lampard's Everton might have felt relieved to be facing bottom club Southampton on Saturday. But the Saints come into this one on the back of 2 consecutive wins in the Cup, the second a massive 2-0 victory against Manchester City in the midweek. Defeat for Everton would mean their worst run at home in over 60 years and even more pressure on Lampard. The Toffees are favorites on the day, but I'm backing Southampton to make it 3 wins on the bounce at plus 230.
Since Forest was hammered 4-0 by Leicester back in October, they've become a tough side to beat, believe it or not, at the City ground. 6 of their last 7 home games in all competitions have hit the under 2.5 goal mark. And it seems like Steve Cooper has realized playing more of a compact defensive style of football could be the key to staying up. As for Leicester, the goals have dried up. Since the restart, they've scored a grand total of 2 in their last 5 fixtures. They'll also be without James Maddison and Kieran Dewsbury Hall, 2 of their best playmakers. Under 2.5 is the play here.
Wolves entertain West Ham in an unexpected Premier League relegation dogfight at the bottom of the table. Since taking over the reins for Wolves, manager Julian Lopetegui has secured 4 points from 3 league matches, as many as they had in their previous 9 games before his arrival. But Wolves are still struggling to score, with just 11 league goals this season, fewer than any other side. David Moyes, meanwhile, is operating on borrowed time for West Ham, and anything less than a victory Saturday could further cement what seems to be his inevitable exit. This match to me screams draw, and I don't see many goals either, so how about a draw combined with under 2.5 goals at plus 275?
Brentford's last Premier League outing saw them record a huge 3-1 win over Liverpool, having already beaten Manchester United and Manchester City this season. And a win against Bournemouth on Saturday would see the Bees go 7 league games without a defeat for the first time since 1937. The Cherries are having a whole different kind of season with 7 defeats in their last 8 EPL games and the joint worst defensive record in the league. Just 1 point above the drop zone, Bournemouth travel to Brentford, knowing only league leaders Arsenal have triumphed at G-Tech Community Stadium this campaign. And I'm taking the Bees to rack up another win tomorrow.
Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Wesley Fofana, Raheem Sterling, Christian Pulisic, N'Golo Kante, Dennis Zakaria, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Edouard Mendy, and now João Felix. That's the list of Chelsea players who will miss Sunday's London derby against Crystal Palace. I don't care who the manager is. No one would be able to deal with the full 11 of first-team starters being out due to injury and suspension. If Palace's form was better, I'd back them straight up here, but it's hard to have faith in a team that's lost 5 of their last 6. Instead, back goals. Both teams to score at almost even money is a gift.
Perhaps the 2 biggest surprises in the Premier League this season, Newcastle hosts Fulham at St. James's Park. Newcastle have kept a clean sheet in each of their last 4 matches and are unbeaten in their last 13 Premier League games. At home, the Magpies are even better, unbeaten in 9 games at St. James's this season. Eddie Howe has his side clicking, but they'll need another big performance to get past the Fulham team coming off a 2-1 upset over Chelsea midweek. but I say they get it done, with plenty of goals to show for it. Give me Newcastle to win, combined with over 2.5 goals at plus 122.
Tottenham will host league leaders Arsenal in the North London derby on Sunday. And despite an impressive 4-0 win over Crystal Palace in their last league game, Antonio Conte's side are hoping to shake off a poor run of results at home. Spurs have lost 3 of their last 4 matches at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, with Conte's side conceding at least 2 goals in each of these fixtures. On top of that, the Gunners ran out 3-1 winners when they last met back in October, and Mikel Arteta's side have suffered only a single defeat in the league all season. With Eddie Nketiah scoring 4 goals in as many games since stepping in for the injured Gabriel Jesus, I'm taking the Gunners to extend their lead at the top of the table at plus 120. Up next, we're predicting the headlines. Stick with us here as we guess what the big stories will be coming out of the weekend. Welcome back into room 442, guys. It is Predict the Headlines. Albert, Mikey, myself, we will be telling you what we think will be coming out in the headlines after this weekend of crazy football. Mikey, you're up first, and your headline is Frank Lampard becomes the 6th PL manager sacked this season.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take at all, especially when you look at the sports books. Frank Lampard is the favorite to be the next manager sacked, and I gotta say, it's for good reason. 8 games now where Everton have yet to secure a victory, and if they lose at Goodison this weekend to a Southampton team who are turning heads right now, it'll mean the 60-year drought, a drought they haven't had in 60 years. It's just a poor run of form at Goodison. So they just can't do that. They can't get into that territory, and if they do, Frank Lampard, I'm sure this will be the end of the road for him. I mean, he's probably operating now on borrowed time a little bit with Everton. He's probably overstayed his welcome a little bit, and Lampard could be the second manager. I mean, I'm thinking of also Steven Gerrard, the second manager of this era of players that we've watched become managers to be sacked this season.
Yeah, I mean, 18th place and 3 wins, Albert. That's not good.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. I think he should be sacked. I think they need to find someone else to settle this squad. And priority, keep them in the Premier League. I'm not convinced that they stay in with Frank Lampard at the helm. But Moshiri, the head of Everton, has come out, the owner has come out and backed him. He's back Lampard.
You have to back your manager.
So that's just why I think he won't be sacked. But I'm with you. I think Everton's sake, he's got to go.
But if he loses to Southampton,
I know. I hear
Southampton's bottom of the Premier League table.
But how does that
right
look
now.
for owner to come out, back your manager? They lose to Southampton. Come out on Monday, we just sack him, right?
Is it just to
I mean,
show,
there's a lot of inconsistency with Everton. I get it.
Yeah.
But you can't come out and back them and just sack them, right?
Is it just to show a united front, though?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
maybe.
thinking.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Could be.
how crazy is it when you look at the bottom of the table and we're talking about Wolves, Everton, West Ham, all being in the legitimate
it.
heart of a relegation battle.
Leicester's not that far from
Leicester's
there
not
either.
that far.
Love
Those
it.
are 3 teams that spend a boatload of money.
Yeah.
Yet here they are fighting relegation.
This Premier League season it's look at the
Wild.
table. It's crazy. It really it's James keeps saying it and it's so true. It's just a different, unpredictable season than we've ever seen before. That probably has a lot to do with the World Cup.
Well, speaking about unpredictable teams, Albert's
Yeah.
headline for the
Yeah.
weekend is about Tottenham Hotspur. Surprise, surprise. Headline is Kane hits 200 PL goals, breaks Greaves' record.
Yeah, so I kind of go against what I just said in the first blog. I said they're only going to score 1 goal. This is me hoping. This is the big headline is that Kane is going to score at least 2 goals against Arsenal. I mean, 14 goals in 18 North London derbies. It's pretty incredible, right? It's pretty prolific. And I think he will score in this. 2 goals.
2.
2 goals to hit 200 in the Premier League, and then 2 goals to also break Jimmy Greaves' all-time Tottenham Hotspur goal record.
Well, it could be his last North London derby.
Oh,
Could be,
that's
could
a good
be.
point. I like that.
I don't
Yeah,
like that,
go
but it could be. But it could
Well,
be.
just to let you know, Arsenal in their last 10 matches, all competitions, have only conceded in 3 of those.
Yeah.
They're
It's a
looking
different Arsenal
really
side. They're completely
But we also
settled.
have to look at who they've played. I think that's
No,
really important.
But we keep,
Yeah.
you know, I've been back in Arsenal for so long, for weeks now, which is kind of crazy to me. But anyway, you got to be neutral in this seat. When you look at Arsenal, we keep saying, okay, when are they going to fail?
January, when they start playing tough teams.
But we said that before, and they've gone through it, and they've gone through. In October, they played 9 matches, and they came out on the better side of it.
You've yet to
You know?
face Manchester City.
Yeah,
this
they-
season.
But
They still have to play-
they haven't faced City. They lost to
Yeah,
United, but they've
right.
beaten Chelsea, Poole, and Tottenham. This narrative has to go.
But
You can-
look, at,
can
look
only-
at Chelsea, look at Liverpool.
That's fine, but those are still big matches.
listen.
This narrative, it's halfway through the season, Mike. You can't
Yeah,
say
there's still
that.
a lot of games
No,
left to
there's
play.
definitely still a lot, but you can only play the teams that are in front of you, and they've done it so well. Like the best in the league, as a matter of fact. Yeah, they still have to play City twice. That's
Yeah,
huge.
and the next 6 games.
And Tottenham are going to play a huge factor the next couple
And they
weeks.
play United.
They play Arsenal, and then they play City next. How Spurs would it be? They lose to Arsenal,
And then they beat
and they beat City. Right?
The Spursiest thing we've ever heard. But let's jump over to the Spanish side of Barcelona because, guys, we have an El Clasico this weekend, which I'm very excited for, obviously. My headline is El Clasico brings goals and drama while Barcelona remain Lu Independencia. Lewandowski has 13 La Liga goals this season. After that, who is it? Dembele, 5. After that, Ansu Fati and Pedri with 3. It is insane how helpful Lewandowski has been for Barcelona, and I can see him being a key factor in the El Clasico match on Sunday.
What a signing, eh?
What a signing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's still not really being talked about as much as it should.
Yeah.
Right? World-class striker, one of the best strikers in the world, probably should have won the Ballon d'Or at some point in his career, is at Barca, doing what he's done his whole career. Right? It's an incredible story that no one's talking about.
And he's not, I mean, yeah, sure, they create a lot of chances and they're playing some really good football right now. They're top of the table in La Liga, right? So he's doing really well, but it wouldn't be that case without Robert Lewandowski.
For sure.
And how old is he? 34 now? 35?
still-
Like
he's-
he's he's up there in age, and for him to be producing in a different league with a side that many people had question marks heading into the start of the season, it speaks volumes to just how good of a player he continues to be. And yeah, it's fair play to him. This match on Sunday, it's first El Clasico of the season.
I know. It's going to be absolutely critical for Barcelona already being out of the Champions League.
I was
And
asking you off
Yeah.
asking you off camera, like this El Clasico does mean something. Like,
Yeah.
there is a trophy on the line here.
I think the fact that Albert referenced this, it is in Saudi Arabia, it's not in Spain. It takes away from it a little bit, but El Clasico is El Clasico.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's the biggest game in football, and there's the rivalry runs so deep. The thing is, right now, Barca could potentially capitalize because Real Madrid do look a little inconsistent with their playing, but also their players are incredible. So, I mean, and you never rule them out. But I'm expecting this guy up here to do some damage on
Another
Courtois.
trophy for Barcelona.
I saw there were some mind games already too between the two managers going back and forth. Yeah, this game always means something, no matter where it is, where it's being played. It's being played in Saudi Arabia this time around. I don't know what the atmosphere, the environment will be like, but it
Yeah.
still should be
Well, you know who's
quite
going to
the
be in
spectacle.
attendance, right?
Cristiano Ronaldo. Watching real football.
Oh.
That is it for us, though, guys. Let's see what happens this weekend. Kane scoring his 200th, Lampard sacked, and Barcelona relying on Lewandowski. All very possible.
like
But
it.
that's it for us. Enjoy a weekend of great football, and we'll be back on Monday doing it all again. Thanks for watching.